Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, as you can probably see by what we have here on the desk and up in the title, is actually going to be an unboxing video. I actually had a viewer, and kind of the whole purpose of this video is to unbox some donations that were actually sent to me by a very kind viewer named Greg. And I just want to give a huge thank you to him for offering me to send these out. He saw my previous unboxing of an XP tablet that I did on this channel a while ago, and that tablet was sent by a viewer named Mitchell. And Greg said that he had some more tablets that he wanted to actually send me, and from what I understand, he has sent me 3 tablets in this box that are all the exact same model of an XP tablet that he had apparently a large amount of. So he offered to send 3 of them out to me, and this is definitely going to be useful for that full video that I'm currently working on for XP Tablet Edition. And yes, I know it's been like over a month since I kind of announced that I was doing that video. That video is still in the works, but it just pretty much keeps getting pushed back as I'm working on other video projects, as you guys probably can tell by all of the videos that I've been publishing on the channel recently. But with all that aside, I just want to again thank Greg for sending this out to me, and let's go ahead and see what he sent me. So we're gonna go ahead and just open this box here, and we're gonna go ahead and just open this up and see what this is all about. So he did say that he sent 1 power adapter. He had 1 power adapter for these laptops, or for these, these are, from what I understand, are like very similar to that Toshiba hybrid computer that Mitchell sent me a couple months ago. So this is the 1 power adapter that he said he had to include with this package, so we'll go ahead and set that aside. This is definitely going to come in handy, obviously, to actually get these things powered up. We have a layer of bubble wrap, and he did mention that he included a couple stylus pens as well, some extra ones, or these might actually be the only ones. So that is definitely very useful. This one looks like there is a little string attached to it, so there you go. We'll go ahead and set that aside, and we've got a couple layers of bubble wrap in here. So here's one of them. We'll go ahead and just pull everything out and just kind of get everything out of the box. So we got one, we have another one right here, so it's pretty cool, and then we have the third one, which is down here. And I actually stand corrected. This actually looks to be like just a tablet itself. There is no keyboard attached to it. These are made by a company called Motion Computing. You guys can probably see that right there. So Motion Computing, it says it's the M4 or M1400 model T003. You guys can probably go ahead and pause the video if you want to read the entire sticker there. There is so yeah, Motion Computing is it's actually what it says on the serial as well. And he did leave a little note in here. I'm just going to go ahead and pull the battery out, and he did leave a note. I'm just going to go ahead and read this, make sure there's no personal info on it. Clean tablet XP image, not all drivers are loaded. No gigs of RAM in other tablets. Okay, so that's just kind of a note letting me know. He did say something about only one of these batteries charging, if I remember correctly. So there was only one of these batteries that actually charged. This is the battery right here, and it kind of pops out. It also has a battery indicator on the side here, or on the back, and then it's got this little thing here that just kind of pops out, and you can actually pop the battery out that way, which is definitely very useful. But this is actually really cool. I mean, I've never seen one of these before. Like I've never seen like an XP tablet that is just a tablet. But we'll go ahead and come back to this. I just want to see if there's anything else in the box that I'm missing, like a note or anything like that. Looks like we have a stand, actually. That's actually pretty cool. So it says Motion Computing right there on the bottom, and I guess this just kind of separates out. Okay, there we go. So yeah, so the stand just kind of pops out like that, and then you can set the actual tablet in here, and it makes a little stand for you, since there's no like built-in stand on the tablet itself. That looks to be everything in here. I'm just looking through this one last time. Alright, so here is one of the tablets right here. We're just going to go ahead and kind of unwrap these other ones. I believe these are all the same model from what I understand correctly. So we're just going to unwrap. And I do want to apologize if the audio kind of sounds a little bit different than it usually does. I'm actually using my Blue Snowball microphone to record this, so the audio might kind of be a little bit different, as I'm moving around here. I'm trying to kind of work on that, but I don't have like my regular headset mic with me. at the moment. I believe he owned a fleet of these. I think these might have come from a school or something like that, but they all have these numbers on the side. Like this one was number 54. And yeah, so we'll just go ahead and set this one on top of the other one here, and then we will open up the last one. Go ahead and just unwrap this. I'm kind of doing the unwrapping away from the microphone so that you don't hear a bunch of bubble wrap, because you know that is definitely very annoying. And this last one here, he says, let me go ahead and pull this out here. Recovered image with tablet drivers. This one has 4 gigs of RAM. 2 gigs from the other tablet. So this one is the only one that actually has memory in it, which means it's the only one that's going to actually boot up. So we're going to go ahead, or I mean boot up and like actually post properly. The other ones will probably turn on, but they're not going to be able to do anything without any RAM. So this one I believe is the only one that has memory in it. So we're going to just go with that, and I'll go ahead and put the battery back in. And I believe he said one of these batteries holds a charge. Okay, so very similar to the Toshiba tablet that Mitchell sent me, these tablets have that little power slider here. So if I go ahead and just kind of pull that down, you can probably see it on the camera right there. This thing right here, where you kind of slide it down to turn it on. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that with this one right here. I'm just setting this other one to the side here. So we'll go ahead and see if it actually has a charge. Which it actually, oh my gosh, it actually does. So it is turning on. So that is definitely very cool. So this must be the only one that actually holds a charge. So here it is loading up right here. And yeah, we're gonna very briefly just kind of talk about this tablet, or just kind of see what's on it, how that it actually works. I believe that I'm gonna try and not knock it over here. I believe that these pens that he sent me here are actually the only pens that came with it, because this one back here doesn't have one, this one does not have one. So I believe these are the only pens that he sent me, which is totally fine. We'll go ahead and just kind of, I believe this is going to be, yeah, so it's the exact same way that Toshiba one works. And there's your speakers right there. Hopefully you're able to hear that. This so far works exactly like the other XP tablet, where when you're taking the pen and you're like hovering around the screen, it's actually moving the mouse, and when you actually make contact with the screen, that's acting as a click. So we'll see if this is actually running. We'll go to run here, and I assume on this one we're going to have to pull up an on-screen keyboard, which it very conveniently kind of shows us this little icon when we hover over a text box. So we're going to tap that here, and we're going to type in WinVer. This is definitely one of the downsides of having a full, tablet display, is that you have to use, a on-screen keyboard for everything. So this looks to be XP Tablet Edition 5.1 build 2600. I'm trying to see if this is version 2005. I don't know if it is. We'll go ahead and go into my computer and into the properties here. So this is, yeah, Tablet PC Edition 2005. So this is the later release of Tablet PC Edition. So yeah, Motion Computing is the company that actually manufactured these machines. This one right here has an Intel Pentium M 1.1 gigahertz processor, and it has 1 gigabyte of RAM, which he actually says on this thing here. That's kind of interesting, because on this note that was attached to the laptop, it says 4 gigs of RAM. I'm gonna actually try to boot these other ones up. I do want to kind of show you guys what happens when we try to power on these other ones. This one right here makes this clicking noise. I'm gonna put it up to the microphone. You can hopefully hear it. So I'm thinking, and none of the lights are coming on, so I'm thinking this might actually be a power related issue, because the machine is not saying that it's getting power from the wall. Like it's plugged in right now, and none of these lights are actually coming on, which normally, at least the charge light would come on. So this seems to me like it could be a power related issue, although again I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, Greg was very generous in just sending me 3 of these things, and he spent a lot of time, from what I understand, just getting these things reformatted, re-imaged. I mean, he was very good with these notes. I mean, he put these on each of the tablets and kind of saying, look, this is how much RAM it has, this is what that I actually did with it, and then he says that there was this odd issue turning on. So Yeah, this one here I'm thinking could just be a power related issue, so we're going to set that one aside at the moment. The other one here I believe just has no RAM in it. This one actually does get power. You can see that the light is on there. When you try to turn it on though, it basically gives what sounds like a post error code. Alright guys, so we're back. I just wanted to briefly show you guys a couple things that I found to be pretty interesting about this laptop. So yes, as I mentioned before, this does run Tablet PC Edition version 2005. The guy who actually sent this to me did also include a folder up here, which I believe contains an ISO file of, the operating system that's on this right now. There's also an image here that I'm wondering what this might actually be. We'll go ahead and open it up here. Okay, so this is actually I don't know if this is an image that he took or if this is just from what he downloaded, but so this is kind of the box that the operating system itself actually came in. You see it actually says for refurbishing PCs, so that is interesting. So yeah, this is the box right here for Tablet PC Edition. Pretty cool stuff. Obviously we have, like I said, the ISO file, we have an SQLite file, and an XML document over here. So this is mainly the, the ISO file is obviously what you're going to need to reinstall this. So that is nice that he included that for me, because I don't actually have an XP Tablet Edition CD image at my disposal, so that is nice. But yes, it does come with all of these standard Tablet PC programs that I mentioned before. So that's going to be obviously the Get Going with Tablet PC guide that kind of came up when we first booted up. It comes with sticky notes, Tablet PC tutorials, Windows Journal, and Inkball is also added in here as well. If we go into games, we have Inkball right here, which I did touch on this actually in Geek XP, which was an unofficial Windows version that we took a look at a while ago on this channel. The author of that unofficial Windows version did bundle pretty much all of the Tablet PC add-ons. So if you guys kind of want a more in-depth look at that, you can go and check out this video as I drop the pen here. It'll be up in the cards, because that's kind of a actual look at all of these applications in depth. And like I mentioned before, there is going to be, whenever I get around to making it, there is going to be a full video on a kind of a retrospective, a look back at Tablet PC Edition, because that is something that I've wanted to do for a while now. One thing I do want to show you guys before I sign off here is actually something that I found very interesting, and that is how you access the BIOS on this computer. Obviously there's no keyboard, so you're not going to be able to press a key or anything like that. So how do you access it? Well, there's actually two different ways, and I'm going to show you that right here. We're going to restart the system, not stand by. We're going to restart, if I can tap that here and hit OK. There is one of these buttons along the side here that you can press and like hold down while the machine is booting up, but you can also just tap the screen with the stylus while it's booting up, even before that it starts to load Windows, which I find pretty awesome. So we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to kind of demonstrate for you guys how that actually works. It is pretty self-explanatory. I just think that it's pretty cool. So we're going to let it shut down here and restart, and it should say once we boot up, it'll say tap the screen down here, tap the screen for system utilities, and you can see here that once I do that, we now have a little menu here. It's actually stopped loading, and we can launch the system setup, we can select a boot device, we can go to password options, system information, or continue booting. So if we go to system information here, it will bring up a Windows XP-like window, where it actually displays all of the BIOS information, the system info itself, what processor that it has, and the same, way of interfacing with the, Windows operating system with XP Tablet Edition applies here as well. It's the exact same thing. When I kind of hover the stylus pen across the screen, you can see that the mouse moves, and when I tap it, it acts as a click. So, very cool. Because again, this is kind of like Windows hasn't even loaded yet, so this is kind of I would assume similar to a pre-installation environment, which is kind of what Windows will boot into when you launch or when you boot it off of a setup disk. So this might be something very similar to that. But what we can do is close out of this and then tap the screen again. As you see, it was starting to actually load up there, and we can launch system setup. And here we are in the BIOS. This probably looks very familiar to a lot of you guys who have ever used VMware there, or if you've used a machine with a Phoenix BIOS, as you know, this is the Phoenix BIOS right here. Obviously, we can't use the stylus pen. Oh, actually, we can. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even realize that you could do that. So you can actually still use the stylus pen in this BIOS here to actually tap through all these options here. There's obviously no cursor, but what you can also do is use this little almost like a D-pad, that's probably not the proper term for it, on the right here, where I can actually use this to kind of go down. I can change the system date, I can go to boot options, I can adjust those to my liking, and I can obviously go to exit. And all of these keys down here, all these keyboard shortcuts don't really apply because there's obviously no keyboard attached to this. Now, if you were to plug in like a USB keyboard, you're going to be able to navigate this, just as you would with a keyboard. But it is pretty cool that they've kind of made it. I didn't even realize when I was testing this off camera that it works with the stylus pen inside of the BIOS. So that's pretty cool. I did not realize that. But we're just going to go to exit here, and we're going to exit discarding changes, because I believe that I might have actually made a unwanted change here. It's going to beep at me. We're going to say yes, or actually no, we don't want to save before exiting. And now it's going to restart. So yeah, that is your way of kind of interrupting the normal system boot. It's either pressing and holding this key right over here if you didn't have the stylus pen on you, or you can literally just tap the screen while it's loading up. But yeah, I mean, there you go, guys. That is a very brief look at these motion computing XP tablets that were very generously donated to me by a viewer named Greg. I just want to obviously thank him once again, because this video would not be possible without his very generous donation. And obviously, like I mentioned before, keep an eye out for that future video on XP Tablet PC Edition. I now have to actually capture some footage of these tablets because I do want to include them in that video as well. And if you guys want to see maybe like a future video, if I find the time to actually figure out what's wrong with these other two tablets, maybe take them apart, put some RAM in this one that doesn't have any RAM in it, and maybe try to diagnose the power issue on this one right here. Be sure to let me know if you guys want to see that, as well as just any other general comments or video suggestions that you guys have, as I always enjoy reading what you guys have to say. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed this one, definitely sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to get subscribed down below and turn on those channel notifications if you haven't already to get notified whenever that I upload a new video, which I do every single week on this channel. And as always, guys, I just want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.